Hey, so I'm going to show how to quickly set up a hotkey so that you can automate bhGhost a little bit, so you can have an update as you flip your poses. Just to show, there is a option in it that's quite nice that you might be aware of. Replace mode. So like normally when you create ghosts, each time you hit the button you add a new one and so on. But there's a mode I use a lot called replace mode. It's basically whenever you make a ghost, it deletes the existing ones and just makes a new one. I often use that. I find it just helps sometimes if I'm doing breakdowns and stuff like that. It's a bit more specific. You're only looking at one pose, just comparing it to the next pose or the previous pose or whatever. And that's kind of part of what the tool or this particular setup leverages. But I think the principles I'm going to show or the way I'm going to interact with the Ghost tool through coding can be adapted. I'm sure other people will think of other ways to use this. The code itself is very simple. It's just a little bit of code here. It just says, first, does the bhGhost exist? The UI, so the UI has to be open, and this is that, looks for that, and then if it does exist, it looks to check is that replace mode on, and then if it is, it does that. It does if it's true, if it's on, if it's one, there's a bust one or like a bust all, and then a ghost. So it basically deletes all the ghosts and ghosts again, and then it goes to NextKey because I wanted basically I'm going to replace the normal NextKey in Maya. When you press the comma and the period button, they're beside each other down near the spacebar, it runs PreviousKey and NextKey commands. So all I'm going to do is just replace that with this extra additional code and then the normal Maya command underneath it. And basically if the UI isn't open or if the replace mode isn't on, it just ignores this stuff and just does what it normally does anyway. So if you're not familiar with setting up custom hotkeys, I'll run through that quickly. So you go to settings, preferences, hotkey editor, and what you're looking for is runtime command editor over here, and you would click this, create new, give it a name, my command, whatever it's going to call it, and put your code in here, and then you save the command, and then you can then access it through the hotkeys. I've already done that, so I'm not going to do that right now, but I'll just show you the hotkey or the command I've already set up. I can search by runtime command and just go bh. You can see I've got quite a few of them for different things here, but yeah, here's one I've got, and if I look at the code, you can see it's just what I was showing you there a second ago. If you're just to copy and paste this in there, and then I just assign it to the period key, or in this case the next key, that's the period key, and the other one is almost exactly the same code, just that it's got previous key down here instead. And I just replace the existing hotkeys with these ones. I click on this and I type in my period here and my comma here. Maya will say, oh, this command is already assigned to previous key or next key, and you just go, yeah, okay. You just accept that, and then you just save and close. And then from then on, it's basically just it'll always work that way. And if you close the UI, obviously it won't do anything. I've actually modified the bhGhost a while back, so when you close the UI, it deletes the ghosts as well. But I hope that helps. I find it super handy. As I say, normally it won't do anything when you open the UI. It just turn on replace mode. But again, you're free to play around with my code and think of another way to use it. One other thing I've added to my own setup actually is when I hit play, my play command, it deletes the ghosts. So sometimes I like that. I've been experimenting with it. I've got it done in one of my versions of mine, not in all of them, and I'm trying it out for my workflow. It's an ever-evolving thing, like I'm sure most people's are. So I hope that helps. Cheers.